welcome back to This American Tries. I'm Kara.
I'm cold.
Fair enough, it is pretty cold.
It is.
Mm.
And I am ludicrously attired. I should be wearing some sort of hoodie. But that is the situation we find ourselves in. And I'm going to go change now. But yeah, I'm Nick. I'm Kara's husband.
And you want to tell them what we're talking about today?
We are going to talk about one of the hottest topics, probably in both countries right now, actually, and that is the cost of living. It's normally followed by the word crisis over here. I'm not sure about what it's like over there. But people love talking about the cost of living, or COSI lives, as some people call it.
Not us.
Not us. We're far too cultured. But yeah, we're going to talk about sort of what it costs on a day-to-day basis over here, over there, what that looks like. What did you think about the UK before you came here? Do we have a reputation of being like wicked expensive?
I mean, the only thing that I ever really knew so much about was London
Oh yeah,
and how, what we would say, like, London is like the New York of the UK kind
yeah.
of thing. And so I always just in my mind thought it was very expensive, but I had actually never been until I met you. So
Mm.
I had been other places like out of the country, but never to the UK. So I didn't really know. I just always expect that when I'm going anywhere abroad, I'm going to spend a ton of money anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Um, but now that we've gone in and broken it down and I see figure by figure, I think it is quite shocking. Sometimes I will, because I'm of the age where I talk to my friends about grocery shopping, I will tell my friends, like, you'll never believe what this cost and how cheap it was.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. So for me, growing up in the UK, obviously people would go to the US on vacation or holiday, and it would be people like, "Oh, can you bring me back some Nikes, or can you bring me back some Levi's?" Or everything was cheap in America, probably because of the exchange rate it was at the time. It's not that way anymore, but it was always like everything's like half price in America because it's just way cheaper.
Mm.
That time has been and gone, as we'll talk about now, because there is a big difference in kind of how we live and the cost of what that looks like.
So I think, in the spirit of fairness, we are going to compare average prices from New York to London because obviously the cost of things can vary greatly depending on where you are.
Yes. So we'll talk about that when it comes to like housing. We'll measure New York versus London
Mm-hmm.
because obviously the US is huge, and finding sort of a similar size town from where we live to like Baltimore, for example, or some of the outskirts of where you lived, was pretty hard. So we went for kind of the vibey, bustling metropolis versus the vibey, bustling metropolis. Great vibes. So we'll talk about housing first because I think that's probably the most important one that people love to talk about. How much their house costs, how much their rent costs. It's probably your biggest outlay in a month, right?
I would say so, yeah.
So, should I talk about London and you talk about New York?
Yeah, you can do the,
'Cause we have
UK stuff and I'll do the US stuff.
So we have the accents happening for us at least.
Excellent.
So in London, the average rent in central London, now central London is defined by if you live in zone 1 on the tube map, or zone 1 or 2 on the tube map, I should say.
Mm.
That is, the average is £2,062 a month. And I say that's the average, so don't come at me saying, I pay way more than that, or that's wicked expensive. That's how much the average is in central London. So £2,062 a month in central. And in the outer zones, which is zone 3 to 4 on the tube map, significantly less. And when I say significant, it's nearly half. So between £1,300 and £1,500 a month is the average monthly rent for the outskirts of London.
Do we have any idea on what kind of sized flat you may get for that kind of money?
No, that data was not available to me. But I think that's probably for a one bed.
Okay.
I would imagine.
And can you give us those figures in dollars, please?
I can't give you those figures in dollars, but they will be appearing on your screen now. Cool.
Excellent.
So when you look at the cost of utilities as well, and this again is average. So for electricity, heating, and gas, so for your fuels, that would be an average of £126 a month. Water is an average of £30 a month, but that is often included in the rent, so I'm told. Average internet cost for your broadband Wi Fi connection is around £38 a month. And we also have council tax here, which apparently, and it depends on your property band, in London is between £100 to £150 a month. That is your average council tax for a one-bedroom apartment.
Right.
Right. Tell me about New York.
All right. So the average cost of rent in Manhattan is about $3,950 per month, which is approximately £3,250, which is over £1,000 more than central London on average.
On average.
In the outer boroughs like Brooklyn or Queens, you're looking at like $2,700 a month, which is approximately £2,223.
What about utilities?
So, utilities, you're looking at about $100 to $150 per month, which is about 98 to £122 roughly. So it's slightly cheaper than London. Water is typically included in your rent as well as heating. And the internet, you're looking at about $60 a month, which is about £49, which is about 40% more expensive than London.
So, what does that mean in total? So, the total cost of housing, if you include your utilities and stuff, in London, in central London, it's around £2,356 to £2,406 a month, depending on some of those variables. In the outer zones, you're looking at £1,594 to £1,818 a month. That is the average monthly outlay of your living expense in London in a month.
And in New York, in Manhattan, you're looking at about $4,130 to $4,160 a month, which is £3,398 to £3,423. And in the outer boroughs, you're looking at about $2,880 a month to $2,910 a month, which is about £2,371 about to £2,396.
So a big difference.
It's pretty big.
It's
pretty significant.
It's a huge difference.
And I haven't seen any flats in London, but I have seen some in New York, and they can be quite small.
It's the same in London. You can live in a really small apartment that is going to cost a lot of money. Just because the prices of property are so high, but also similar to New York, it's just like there's just not enough places to live. So it's a supply and demand thing, and a lot of people are making a lot of money.
Well, I think some people are making a lot of money.
Well, a lot of people who own properties are earning a lot of money.
All right, so let's move on. You've got this lovely apartment, and now you need to fill your fridge. What's that going to look like? We can talk about the average grocery cost for each place. So we'll start with your basic gallon of milk. Let's say maybe half gallon, because the UK doesn't really have anything.
We don't really do gallons, no.
Right.
Well, we don't. But also, I think the biggest one we will generally do is like a 4 pint, which I'm not sure what that is in gallons. I'm not going to look it up either.
Okay, fine. So a half gallon in the US is $1.79.
What's that in pounds?
That is £1.42.
Ooh.
As currently filming this video with the exchange rate that we have.
Right. It's very important to mention.
A similar size in the UK would cost you about £1.20, so about 22p less in the UK.
A little bit cheaper. Marginal. Important to remember that when we compared these prices, we compared like store home brand stuff, so it's not branded. It's not like, unless we mention it, but for the most part, it's store brand stuff.
Right. So you've got your milk. Now you need your loaf of bread.
course, you need a loaf of bread.
You need a loaf of bread. In the US, that's going to cost you $1.99.
Oof.
$1.99, which is about £1.58. And in the UK, that's going to cost you 74 pence, which is about 92 cents.
That's great value.
That's great value. Get a whole loaf of bread for about 70p.
Yeah, 70p loaf of bread.
Yeah.
We do like to keep the price low of that.
But you can't live off milk and bread now, can you?
Well, some people do. Hedgehogs. What do you feed a hedgehog?
Milk and bread.
Yeah, bread soaked in milk. How do you feed your hedgehogs? Let us know in the comments.
What I want to know is how many hedgehogs have you fed?
Many, yeah, we did. When I was a kid, we'd get hedgehogs come into our garden. It's quite common over here that you get hedgehogs that come out at night, and you find out on like some TV shows and stuff like what the best thing is to feed your hedgehog or leave out for a hedgehog at night so they can eat nicely. And it's bread soaked in milk.
Well, that sounds a little shy of French toast. Beautiful.
It does. Those hedgehogs, they love a bit of French toast. How's that for a tangent? Anyway, so to your point, yes, you cannot live on just bread and milk unless you're a hedgehog. Some people, and we're not judging at all, we're not saying it's the right way or the best way, but some people eat meat. Chicken, to be precise. And chicken, the breast, is sometimes the most popular cut of that meat. So we wanted to know how much it would cost for 2 chicken breasts. Like no frills on it, just 2 chicken breasts, store brand. How much is that going to cost you?
In the USA, it's going to cost you about $10
for 2 chicken breasts.
2 chicken breasts, $10, which is about 8 pounds. What about in the UK?
Get cheaper breasts down at Sugar Lounge. UK, you can get 2 chicken breasts for £2.40, which in American money is $3.
$3.
$3.
US bucks.
$3 dues. You can get 2 chicken breasts for. Nice.
You may be better off getting some chickens.
Perhaps.
Maybe. And then you could get eggs from those chickens.
Oh, that was a segue.
It was.
Yeah, but I can edit so I can make my own segues. Cut. So, tell me about eggs. How much is a carton of 12 free-range eggs? You want to go out, you want to throw some eggs at someone's house, you're going to need 12. How much are you paying?
You want to egg someone's house, it's going to cost you the cool price of $7 US.
$7 US bucks.
That's about 5.5 pounds.
5.5 pounds. £5.57 to be precise.
£5.57 with the current conversion rate.
Let me tell you how much our eggs cost.
Yep.
Actually, you probably know better than me because you do the grocery shopping, but I've got it in front of me. They cost 12 eggs are £2.65, which in American money is
$3.32.
Wow. We love that. So nice cheap eggs over here, as well as cheap everything else.
So far, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Let's talk about some fresh produce. I mean, eggs are fresh.
You've got your bread, milk, your eggs. You're going to make some French toast. Maybe you want to top it with some strawberries?
Perhaps you do.
But not for $8. You don't.
In the US, a punnet of strawberries.
$8.
$8.
$8. That is £6.36.
£6.36. In the UK, £2.50. Which in the US is
$3.13.
Wow, we love that too. So nice cheap strawberries, nice cheap everything. Let's talk about drugs. After all that food, after all that shopping, bright supermarket, you might have a bit of a headache.
You might.
So when you have a headache, you're going to take some paracetamol or
acetaminophen.
Because I can't say that word. So you're going to take some paracetamol for a headache, but you're preempting it. You're in the grocery store, supermarket, and you want to pick up some pain relief. In the USA, that is going to cost you
$3.49.
Which in British money is £2.78. And that is for, I believe it was 15.
Yeah.
15 tablets. In the United Kingdom, if you walked into your local supermarket, of which we have like 4 or 5 big chains over here, you would pay 50 pence for the same amount.
which is 62 cents.
So nice and cheap pharmaceuticals.
Not even $1.
But not everything is that cheap.
Mm-mm.
What did we find that was more expensive in the UK than the US?
Good old crispy can of Coca-Cola.
The old red and white machine.
Mm. Tell us, how much is it going to cost you to get some Coca-Cola in the UK?
In the United Kingdom, a 24 pack, that's right, you want 24 cans of that beautiful brown liquid, it's going to cost you £14.50. The reason why that is a little expensive is because we have the sugar tax that the government brought in a couple of years ago, which means that sugary drinks, for example, will have a levy put on them to make them more expensive, meaning that it would deter people from buying them and maybe buying a sugar-free or chemically enhanced alternative.
Mm. In the US, if you want a 24 pack of Coca Cola, it's going to cost you $13.88. So that is £11 compared to the £14.50. So slightly more expensive in the UK.
We've been shopping in the UK, we've been shopping in the US. What does that total look like? How much did that cost in the US? All of that stuff together.
So all that stuff in the US is $46.12, which is 36 pounds.
And in the United Kingdom, that total of all of those items that we just talked about comes to £24.49, which is an average of about $30 in the United States. So our grocery shopping trip, cheaper over here.
Much cheaper over here.
And actually, I mean, we've done a week's grocery shopping in the US, we've done a week's grocery shopping here. It's been significantly cheaper when we kind of add everything up that we would normally buy outside of these things. Way cheaper. It's like almost half of what a grocery shopping trip would cost in the US.
Absolutely.
So we're significantly cheaper for that, which is nice.
Yeah.
So let's go through the last thing that we're going to compare, which is that thing that you talk to someone on, that thing that you text someone on, that thing that you generally browse the internet on. What do you call that?
That's a cell phone.
I'll call it a mobile phone. But in either case, what you need is a plan.
You need a plan.
And I love it when a plan comes together. So in the US, you can do the same as over here. If you have a phone, if you've gone to the Apple Store, for example, and bought yourself a shiny new iPhone, you can just go and buy a SIM card and get a plan with that and start to roll with it. And that's what we've compared here. So we haven't compared prices of technology, we're just comparing the prices of cell phone, mobile phone service.
Yes.
So I've compared EE in the UK with T-Mobile in the US, and they're basically EE took over T-Mobile in the UK, so basically the same company. How much was it in the US?
So in the US, for a SIM-only plan, it is $60 a month, or about £47 a month.
Do you think that's good value?
I do, because my phone plan was way more expensive than that when I was in the States.
Did you have SIM only?
I didn't.
Okay, so you had it with technology with it?
Yeah, I had like just the regular monthly unlimited everything plan.
How much was your SIM? How much was your plan in the US?
It was $120 a month roughly, and my cell phone bill in the UK is less than £12 a month.
And that's for SIM only?
It's SIM only. But I have unlimited everything with the SIM only, except like international roaming.
Yeah.
That's it.
So in the UK, for a similar plan for the UK, unlimited calls, unlimited texts, unlimited data, and you can use your phone as a hotspot, all that good stuff. The average cost is £27, which is around $33. But like you say, you can get it a lot cheaper. You can have the power and ability to kind of negotiate, bargain them down a little bit.
Yeah, I do also think that you have more carriers here.
We do. We have more carriers, but also those carriers tend to work with each other and use each other's service sites as well. I think it's the way that the infrastructure is set up here. Also, we're a smaller country, so we have those cell sites and data points that people can use pretty readily and easily and not be too far between them. whereas obviously in the US, that infrastructure is a little further apart
Yes.
and developing.
So it's about half the price on
Yeah.
average. On average.
All right.
That was eye opening.
It was. So I guess we're just cheaper at everything.
Better value.
Better value.
Yes.
It's basically the same stuff, but less money.
Yeah.
And some would argue maybe a little healthier as well.
Anyway,
thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. If you've made it this far, then you should definitely be subscribed.
I'd love it if you did. Please ding the bell for a notification. It would be lovely if you could come back and see us again, where we'll be talking about more things that are different between the country that she was born in, the country that I was born in, and
maybe the country that you were born in.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that in the comments. We hit all three in that one. Beautiful. Mwah!
Until next time.
We'll see you again.
Cheers.
Cheers.